what else did you learn in France, like outside of the concerti, the excerpts and stuff like that? What are some things you kind of took back and have kind of stayed in your life, and interests or hobbies or anything like that?
I mean, look, there are a lot of memories. Made a lot of friends that I'm still friends with, and that's probably the thing that I cherish the most. I lived in a place with a lot of artists and musicians and friends I still have, and there was one painter, artist named Jonathan Shimoni, who remained a friend and who used to take a few of us to either d'Orsay or the Louvre, and he would talk about art, taught us about art. He loved doing that. It was like a tour guide, explaining things, making you look at things differently. That was huge there. So I ended up doing a lot of the art stuff, seeing a lot of the different things and appreciating that stuff. Culture, of course. I mean, so much history, so much culture there. Obviously, the food and the wine. And I mean, it was different times. But, you go and you learn about that stuff. I mean, I was there at a time in my life where 21, 22, 23 years old, where like it all, I feel like living there kind of made me who I am. It was incredible for me, the friendships. I mean, I had met the people from Vandoren that would come to New York when I was at school in New York, but then to get to know them there and get to know them better and stuff, it was, big for me. It was really, that was the sort of thing that took back. I mean, and I still talk to friends and often, and, they tell me about movies and stuff like that, just do whatever I can to keep my friendship and that sort of thing. But, it is what it is, it's something that'll be with you always.
So your start with Vandoren was actually in the United States then? You met them first when they came here?
When I was a student at Juilliard, the Vandoren Studio opened up in New York. Someone got my name on one of the guest lists. I mean, it was a cattle call. I mean, everybody could come if they wanted, but I got an invitation, and I was like, so I'm going to go. So I go, and I go to this party, this opening, and I knock on the door, and a big gentleman with a crew cut and a jacket and tie on opens the door and says, "Welcome," and is holding a bottle of wine or champagne, I forget what it was, and hands it to me. And I was like 17 and maybe 18 years old. I don't know. It's like, oh, okay. And welcome and a whole thing. And it's a bunch of people. And,
So you still do that in NYC, right? You're in a student tie.
No. We do not promote underage drinking.
No.
Please, no.
Don't do that. We don't do that. You can get an espresso at the studio.
Right. We have water and coffee. That was actually Bernard Vandoren.
Wow.
And while I was there, there was Jean-Louis René, who still works at Vandoren, and Jean-Paul Gauvin were there. And I just got to meet them. And Jean-Louis is such a great guy. I mean, I was just a kid from the school up the block there or whatever. And I came back the next day. I mean, he played some duets with me, and they gave me a bottle of wine that they had from the celebration, that I still have that bottle of wine. We corresponded, and he ended up sending me photocopies of music and things to work on and learn. And there's everybody there that I knew from Vandoren made you feel like you were important, regardless of who you were. They treated you with the same respect, whether you were, Stanley Drucker or David Sanborn or David Gould. I mean, it was whatever. It didn't matter. It was, everybody was interested and took the time. And I think that was something that was huge for me. Nobody big timed you that, oh, you're just a kid, who cares? And then living in France, I got to know them. I'd go up to Vandoren all the time. It was a destination. It was trying stuff in the sheet music store that they have there. And it became, it was a thing, whatever. So I got to know them very well. And when I moved back, there was going to be an opening or job or whatever. And then I applied for the job. He said, I knew the guy that was doing a job that was quitting. And he says, you want me to put in a good word for you? And I'm like, no, just let me know when you quit. And told me. The next day I called up the woman that was the brand manager at the time, Sandy Neal or Sandy Mesner. And she, I said, I hear there's an opening. I'd be interested. Well, we'll figure it out. Let me know. Send me a resume. And, just one thing to the next, and here I am. I mean, how did you get started? I mean, you were the intern.
Yes. Yeah. So it was Professor Mitchell Estrian at UF. He would do the Vandoren Clarinet Ensemble festivals, and we'd travel to different places and play clarinet ensemble music, which is great.
I remember those. Those were so much fun.
Yeah, I was, because I was a clarinet nerd, I still am, and, playing clarinet ensemble is fun. You can play alto clarinet, bass clarinet, whatever clarinet you want to play, so. And I would always talk to Andy at those things because he would be there, Andy Blanco, who was the brand manager. So that was my first time really meeting anyone at the company. And then I went to Buffet Academy in 2012 and I met you. That was the first time we met. And we, I would always just say hi because I always played on the reeds and everything like that. And then I was playing the mouthpieces after that. I played an M15 for a long time. And just seeing Andy every year, kind of the Clarinet Ensemble Festival. And at the time I was thinking about doing the business degree, like I said. And then I asked him about the internship with Vandoren and I applied and, sent in my recommendations, everything. And I did a phone call with Andy and Michael Skinner, and then I was doing a trip to Chicago over the summer I applied, I think in January, and I found out, and so I found a sublet, stayed in Wrigleyville, and it was great. It was a good summer because I was learning a lot of different things about the business, and I was still playing clarinet and practicing, trying to take lessons, seeing the CSO and Grant Park. Being from Florida, you don't really see musical groups of that caliber, really, unless they're on tour or anything. So it was kind of really eye-opening in that way, just having that experience and being able to kind of see the art happen, instead of just the recordings. That was really powerful.
And to make me feel old and not successful, you went on to grad school. We skipped over that. You studied with Steve Williamson at DePaul.
Yeah. So
Steve and I were at school together. He's older, right? At least I have that, and he's got more hair than me. But yeah, we played in American Ballet Theater Orchestra together for, I forget, it was a season or two. I forget what it was. He was amazing when we were at school, and certainly went on to amazing things. Like what was studying with him like for you?
Steve's just a really incredible person, an incredible teacher. Yeah, starting with him, it really kind of opened my eyes on like what being an artist is, or what it can be musically with my ideas. Because he's kind of similar to you in that he went to Europe, for Fulbright but in Germany. So he picked up some things there, and I think just the way he explains how to be musical, the way he thinks about reading music and how he shapes phrases is something that's just really stuck with me, because he would always talk about his time with the Met and how it was incredible. Just, every week is more amazing artists, all the incredible vocalists, all the singers, all the musicians that he works with, learning from them and being in an environment where he can like take those perspectives and try to, shape his own playing with that influence. Having him teach me is really incredible, and he shaped a lot of how I think about playing and like the sound I want to get out of the clarinet. And yeah, it was really great. I mean, and we'd take our lessons in the basement of Symphony Center, so it was just like, you would teach us, and it's just like, I imagine people coming in, it's just like clarinetists in a line, it's like, this one played Mendelssohn Scherzo, next one, you'll hear that, or you'll hear the different variations of excerpts, and it was, it's probably a fun time for them if you're practicing on Sunday at Symphony Center. So, but yeah, it was really great, and that was already 2 years ago, so time flies. Wow.
You're not kidding. Let's see, what else can we talk about? What else would everybody love to know about us?
What was your first Vandoren mouthpiece, David? Mine was technically a B45 because that's what came in the case, but I played the M15 the longest before I played this. But what was your first Vandoren mouthpiece?
5RV Lyre, baby.
5RV Lyre. Is that Juilliard when you were studying with David Weber, or before?
Oh,
Way before.
That was when I was in high school.
High school, 5RV Lyre.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was a Profile 88, because that was new around then.
Wow.
Yeah, 5RV Lyre. I remember my teacher at the time telling me I should try these new reeds. They're called the V12s. They're supposed to be really good.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't playing them, I guess, at the time, but I think at that point V12s were out for a couple of years. But yeah, I've played on, at this point, a lot of the catalog. I shouldn't say most. I mean, between 5RV Lyre, and then, as a student trying the prototypes, because, we would all go down and try when people from Vandoren came to try the prototypes. And I remember trying M13 prototypes, then M13 Lyre prototypes, and all the, 5RV Lyre 13s. And I had bought a V13 when that came out.
Oh, wow.
And played on all of them. And when I went to France, I played a B40, then B40 13. And then came back, moved here, played M30 for a while, and then BD5. And hopefully when the BD4 13 comes, I'll be probably playing that. But
yeah, it's it's so funny because I don't know, hearing you got to try all these mouthpieces because they had the New York studio, and then I just remember when I was in high school, I just looked at the Vandoren catalog because I had no idea about mouthpieces or anything, and I was just like, what can give me the darkest sound or focus sound? What do people want? And I think it was in the description of the M13. It was like dark focus sound or something like that. And so I just bought an M13. I was just trying to play on it, and I think I was trying to play on it with a 3.5. But I had no idea that you weren't supposed to play 3.5s on an M13.
Well, look, as well as I do, all of that stuff, it's all individual. I mean, because some people, depending upon how they bite, how they blow, some people play a 3.5 or a 3 or whatever, and some people play 5s. I mean, I know the average player in France does not play as hard a reeds as the average player does here. It contributes to different things, but it's also a voicing difference or propensity to different mouthpieces, like the what's popular, more popular where, is it the M13 Lyre and 15 popular here versus B40 Lyre popular there? I mean, it's 6 and 1/2 a dozen of the other, but it's ultimately the sound that you have in your ear, and hopefully the equipment helps you get to the sound and feel that you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is having a place like the studios to try all these different mouthpieces, because what you read on the sheet doesn't necessarily translate when it's applied to yourself. So it's to me, it would have been like crazy. Like for me, if I was in high school, to have a place where I could try all the mouthpieces with different reeds, that would just probably like made my life way easier than
or
it made my life harder. Yeah, sure. So be there every week, So as a working musician and a working man, how does your typical week look like for you? Like what entails? Like it's always different, right? Like
right. Well, actually, it's the most stable it's ever been now that we have COVID-19. I'm home every night.
Yeah.
Every day is different. We can have appointments at Vandoren Studio, and there can be a knock at the door and 3 different people come in, or a phone call, hey, I'm 3 blocks away, or hey, I'm in town with the blah, blah, blah orchestra, can I stop by? Or, do you want tickets to come to, the Village Vanguard playing this week, whatever. So I like that it's different now with kids and a wife, and coordinating schedules can be complicated, and traveling for Vandoren, or doing a gig, traveling for a gig or whatever. It's tough. It requires a lot of focus, as you could imagine, because when you start doing that, you have to be on top of a lot of different things. You got to be on top of your in this case the Vandoren job. I could say this to you because it's the same for you. You're trying to break in and freelance and playing too. I mean, you're going to have to be on top of your quote unquote day job. And you also have to be on top of your horn.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that it's, you know, a luxury to find time to practice, but I mean, not only is it a desire to create music that's stronger than what you think. I mean, it's deep inside of you that you want to create and you want to make art and music. But it's also, it could be, you know, a financial necessity. I mean, you and I both live in expensive places. And it's, you know, it is what it is. So it's, I mean, I'm not trying to say I just play for the love of music. I also play because it's, you know, a livelihood. It's a future. It's a, you know, I'm afraid to say the word pension because of what's going on with the pensions right now, but it's that. So, I mean, it's a lot of time management, a lot of organization, a lot of help, you know, a lot of understanding. I mean, you know, I'll go to work and I'll finish what I have to do, and I'll have to stay an extra 45 minutes or an hour just to make sure I'm prepared to play something I've got to play next week. Or there's a lot more to that. And, you know, to manage all this, you just do your best. I remember asking Aaron Yoon one year, who seemed so busy teaching in a bunch of places and concerts, and I'm like, when do you find time to practice? And he smiled and he said to me, he goes, let's just say I practiced a lot when I was young. And I understand that more and more as time goes on, just because you don't have the same time that you had when you were a student. So now you think more about music. You're hearing more music in your head. You're practicing without an instrument. You're on an airplane flying to the clarinet convention or something, or you're flying somewhere and you have a gig and you're looking at the music on the plane. You're not necessarily watching a movie. You're studying your score, because why? You've got the time. You're stuck doing it. You think maybe you're listening with a recording. You do all this learning whenever you can.
In my master's degree, I was working at this job and doing my master's degree, so I was still kind of balancing work and school and practicing. But yeah, you don't really think about it, but when you're working, that's time you're not practicing. We're in school, it's, you know, you go to class and typically, you know, unless you have a job or something like that, like side job or whatever, you have pretty much infinite free time at school because there's no pressures of paying rent or anything like that.
All I can tell you now, Michael, is wait till you have kids.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Because now you think you're busy.
Yeah. With all of your infinite time that you have now, David.
Thank
you. What have you been up to? What are any hobbies that you've been pursuing? Things that you wish you could do?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. I mean, I play the clarinet when I have chance now, and you know, that's a joke that didn't come out as well as I was hoping it would. Yeah, the clarinet's a great hobby. At this point, the clarinet has become a fantastic hobby.
Sure.
I bought a set of clarinets last summer, and, you know, you're trying to get to know them. So now with time, and it's difficult because, you know, my wife is trying to teach a little bit online. My kids are at school online, so we have a small apartment, so I got to be careful. So but I try to get about an hour a day, and that's actually kind of become, at this point, something of a bit of a mental therapy. You know,
sure.
You get a chance. I talk as if I know what therapy is, but I mean, it just gives you a chance to really clear your head of things, and you just, on an elemental level with this instrument, I'm just trying to get to know it. And to do that, I'm actually working on all new music, stuff I had never really played before. So I bought a set, so B flat and an A clarinet. So I've been playing a couple pieces that I had that I knew for A clarinet, like the Weinberg sonata, or the thing I started last week, just picking at the Spohr fourth concerto, is the one for A clarinet. And I mean, I had the music forever, and maybe I heard it but now it's an excuse. You know, I'm not like, it's not like I'm going to perform it.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
but it's fun to do that, and B flat clarinet, different, you know, conservatory pieces and stuff that never did the Schumann romances. I'd never really played, working on stuff like that just as an excuse. A lot of cooking. I've always enjoyed cooking, a lot of baking. We love bread in my house, so we've been trying different bread recipes. Harkening back to my youth with the fuel pumps and working on cars and things like that, someone actually gave me a Velo Solex, which is
Oh, wow.
basically a bicycle that has a 2-stroke engine on it. And this one actually happens to be from ~75. So I'm even older than this old thing. But getting it to run, and I got a box of parts the other day in the mail that I'm looking forward to trying to get it going. We got it to run, but I mean, I have to clean the gas lines and put in filters, and there's some parts that were missing, an air cleaner, and once it's running and I can ride it, then I'll work on the brakes.
Oh, sure.
The time. But what have you been doing? How have you been managing COVID-19 and your in-homeness?
It's been nice to practice kind of what I want to practice in a way without like external pressures. I think when you're trying to freelance and do other things, you are succumb to whatever the next thing that you're performing for is. So you always have to work on that because you want to sound good on the gig.
What have you been practicing? What are some of the stuff?
I've just been listening a lot to different musicians. I've been listening to a lot of the Bach violin sonatas and partitas, and I've been doing the De La Cluse Keen's etudes, the transcriptions of those works for clarinet. I have a couple of etude books. I just went through my collection the other day, and I was like, all the etude books I bought but never opened in school. So I'm doing some of the Rose 20, the Rhoda caprices that were
transcribed. 20 grand, yeah.
Yeah, so those have been kind of fun because it's very different. It's Bach-esque, but in the fact that it's violin technique and not necessarily clarinet-y. I've actually started picking up different solo pieces that I never worked on to. I did Martineau. I've tried to go through the Rigoletto Fantasy a little bit. Right now I'm just kind of reading through Weber one, and I think, like you, I kind of want to pick up a Spohr concerto because I've been watching a lot of these European solo competitions, like Geneva and Nielsen, all these videos of these things, Ghent, which is coming up. All of them usually have a Spohr concerto, and it's like, how come I've never learned a Spohr concerto before? So I think I'm going to start. I haven't picked one yet, but I think I'm going to, within the next week, I want to try to start it and get it, because I think, I don't know, they're kind of fun clarinet pieces.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget that when you're practicing for other things that,
I vote for number one. You should start with number one.
Okay. I was thinking of two, but I'll check out number one.
Two's tough.
Yeah, I know. Well, because I saw I think they're all tough, but I mean, for different reasons. Yeah. There's this like crazy lick into that I always I hear. It was like there was like one competition that I did in the last couple of years, and it was just like in the semifinal round, and it was just like every time the lick came, you're just like, oh no, are they gonna stick it? Or is it gonna...
is that the dump to the
yeah, that one. And you're just like, oh no, it's coming.
I have to say, that is fun. I mean, I've played the first one, the second one, and I think I picked out a movement of the third. I just on the fourth, but it's a great idea. It's fun.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's, I think in America, we kind of get lost in the excerpts a lot. That's kind of what we were talking about with your time in France. And I kind of want to be able, now it's kind of like the time, it's like, well, I should learn concerti. I should go do really hard etudes. Because I watched this, I watched this Hilary Hahn video. She did the partita. It was the second double, it's number 5 in the Keen's etudes. And she plays it at like 144. And I was just like, whoa, it's so musical. It's so, I mean, it's like fast, but there's like a lot of phrasing and nuance that's kind of happening. It's just like, maybe I need to like put that into my playing. That's kind of
this recording of her doing that, it's like that, and she's also doing the hula hoop at the same time.
Oh, not the two-step violin one, but no. Maybe I should do the hula hoop too. Like get fit, you know. I mean,
bad subject. We're not talking about that.
Yeah. You should yeah.
So what else? So what else have you been doing with your COVID time?
Yeah, cooking a lot. I bought a few different cookbooks and I'm just exploring different ideas. Cooking is just fun because it's like trying mouthpieces, you know? Everything has a different taste. So you kind of have to, like with cooking, you're learning how to identify those tastes and what things happen when you add things or take away things. And I think of mouthpieces kind of the same way. You know, I'll play a B40 lyre one day and a BD5 the next. And it's like, these do different things. Like, what is happening? How am I changing? And cooking is just a way to do that. That tastes way better and it's way more fun. And it's not clarinet-y. So yeah, just cooking, playing video games. I don't know. That's kind of working. That's what the time has been. It's kind of freeing because every day is kind of make your own schedule and there's no, I mean, you know, I put in structure when I need to practice and stuff like that and when to cook, but yeah, so it's been fun.
Yeah, it's true. I think we're all, I mean, I'm sure everybody going through this or when they see this, that will have gone through this. It's true. The schedules are so ridiculous now. I mean, I find myself up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning,
yeah,
and writing emails or making lists, or just because I'm awake, it's in your head. It's the natural flow. The only rub for that is I got to get up, got to wake the kids up in the morning. But that's, you know, it is what it is. But
yeah.
It's crazy times, really crazy times. So,
yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, Michael,
I think
we've covered a lot of ground today. That being said, sir, I think I'm going to take leave of you, and good luck with dinner tonight, and talk soon.
All right, talk soon, David.
Peace out.
See you.